Sitting at the benches of the mighty Pantaron mountain range in the tri-boundaries of Davao del Norte, Bukidnon, and Agusan del Sur provinces, Sitio Tapayanon is home to an Atamanobo tribal community who, for time immemorial, has tilled ancestral lands and passed on to their posterity their most sacred tribal customs and traditions. To the tribe's memory, their Atamanobo ancestors have been in Tapayanon for over 100 years. Long has these indigenous people lived in peace, happy and content with their modest living, until some decades ago, some armed group claiming to be the People's Army, protectors of the poor and the tribe's salvation, marched in and declared Tapayanon under their care. But time has passed, new generations of Atamanobo children born, but no salvation came to the villagers of Tapayanon. Instead, they have learned to accept their luckless fate, to be slaves, victims of the communist terrorist group CPP-NPA. On February 2019, the 60th Infantry Mediator Battalion of the 1001st Infantry Pag-asa Brigade, 10th Infantry Aguila Division, Philippine Army, did exactly what this tribal datu thought impossible. Government soldiers crossing politico-administrative boundaries and going outside the designated limits of its area of operations and beyond what even the troops themselves thought too incredible a place to reach. To the troops, Sitio Tapayanon may be a discovery, but it was no surprise. Upon conducting civil-military operations in the area, the tribal leaders of Sitio Tapayanon revealed that their village has been used by the different units of CPP-NPA terrorists as their run-to haven or refuge site for several years.
Abi na mo nga, ang NPA mauna ang gobyerno namo. Nga di mangyod. Pagkakaroon, nga naana mo din murag nakaanak po ang mga tao diri nga. Naapa may gobyerno nga sakto.
The 60 IB troops assessed that the village, being geographically isolated, has little or no access to mainstream society. Thus has become a very easy and convenient target for the CPP-NPA terrorists' exploitation. Dato Bansing Balanban, Tapayanon's tribal chieftain himself, has once joined the Manilakbayan, a series of protest rallies organized by the CPP-NPA's legal fronts, supposedly to raise awareness on the indigenous people's plight in Mindanao.
Ako si Bansing Balanban ang akong apelyido. Gidaog-daog sa MPA. Nganong nakaadto man ko sa lakbayan kita gipahimuslan sa MPA.
Erstwhile, during the initial run of focused military operations in the area, 60 IB captured 5 firearms and discovered 4 CPP-NPA terrorist hideouts in the vicinity of the village, confirming the tribal leader's claim.
The discovered hideouts may have been abandoned for as recent as a week ago and can have accommodated around 30 to 80 persons at any one time. Other items found in the area include improvised tables and beds, rice husks, and fresh food wastes.
Several days after 60 IB's initial engagement with the tribal villagers, on March 9, 4 members of the CNT's Guerrilla Front 6, led by a certain Alfredo Banawan alias Alab or Bogs, surrendered to the troops, further affirming the CPP-NPA's influence in the village. 3 of these surrenderies are of minor age.
Alias Lin, 15 years old, a resident of Sitio Tapayanon and medic on training of Guerrilla Front 6, claims that she has been under the care of the CPP-NPA since she was a child. A certain alias Toto, her team leader in the NPA, took her in when she was only 3 years old. Lynn, however, also claims that she has only joined as a regular member and been issued her own firearm in 2018. Meanwhile, a 14-year-old boy alias Weng, Lynn's older sister, 16-year-old alias MJ, and her husband, 23-year-old alias Bran, were all forced to join the CPP-NPA in February this year after Lynn's father asked Bran to fetch Lynn from Toto. Bran, who asked MJ and Weng to accompany him, never returned to his father-in-law and were forced to join Guerrilla Front 6 after Toto threatened their life if they insist to leave. Two days later, on March 11, after another round of dialogue with the tribal leaders, the villagers voluntarily revealed the identities of their militia ng bayan and surrendered 11 more NPA-issued firearms to 60 IB. Dato Bansing Balanban said that this is their way of expressing that they are 100% ready to cooperate with the government, especially if this means real peace and development for their village and the end of the CPP-NPA's exploitation of their tribe. 60 IB Commander Lieutenant Colonel Gilbert Ombos says that this discovery is both a challenge and an opportunity, considering the ongoing implementation of Executive Order No. 70 or the whole-of-nation approach to end the insurgency. With the help of the various local government units within the 60 IB's area of operations, 60 IB was able to bring an initial 200,000 pesos worth of aid to Sitio Tapayanon. These include assorted medicine, rice, canned goods, noodles, coffee, corn seeds, and assorted vegetable seeds. 10 tribal chieftains from Kapalong Town, Davao del Norte also visited Sitio Tapayanon to initiate dialogues among the tribal leaders and facilitate the same between the tribe and the government troops. On March 13, the 10th Infantry Division Medical Team led by Major Raul Susuka, Medical Corps, Philippine Army, conducted a medical civic action program there, benefiting around 300 residents of Tapayanon. Dato Bansing Balanban says this is the first time a real medical doctor, and a military doctor at that, has ever reached their village. On March 26, a delegation from the Department of Education, Division of Davao del Norte, led by DepEd Kapalong East District Supervisor Mrs. Sara Pasion Cobar, together with the Davao del Norte Provincial Engineer's Office, conducted an ocular inspection, site visitation and assessment at Sitio Tapayanon for the possible establishment of a public school there. The 60 IB and its higher headquarters, the 1001st Infantry Brigade, 10th Infantry Division, and the Eastern Mindanao Command are currently liaising hand-in-hand with the concerned LGUs, other government agencies, and non-government organizations and civic society organizations alike to also send aid and initiate appropriate interventions for Sitio Tapayanon. Meanwhile, the NPA regulars and militia ng bayan who voluntarily surrendered to the government troops will be enrolled to the Enhanced Comprehensive Local Integration Program, where they will receive livelihood assistance and cash remuneration for surrendered firearms, alongside other psychological, social, and economic interventions for their smooth reintegration to the community. While CPP-NPA legal fronts continue to accuse government forces of violating human rights and international humanitarian law, more and more incidents of outright violations perpetrated by their communist terrorist units continue to be exposed by the very communities they say they serve. As revealed in former rebels' testimonies, the CPP-NPA deliberately recruits and organizes vulnerable sectors that they can use not only in their propaganda but also in their terroristic acts. In 60 IB's area of operation alone, 8 out of 10 former rebels are indigenous peoples, while 4 out of 10 are youths. Records also show that many of the former rebels were recruited when they were still of minor age.
Around 40 of the former rebels who surrendered to 60 IB in 2018 are from the boundary villages of Bukidnon, Agusan del Sur, Davao del Norte, and Compostela Valley provinces. Most of them are indigenous peoples, and a considerable number were either minors upon surrendering or were minors when recruited by the NPA.